In this video, what we want to do is look at the idea of how do we calculate the circumference of a circle. Now, in a previous videos we've put on the links, we've seen that the idea that the value of pi is the circumference of the circle divided by the diameter. So circumference, when we take the circumference of the circle, so the outside of the circle, when we divide it by the diameter, that gives us the number pi, and we've shown that. So if you're not sure about that one, go back and have a look at the previous videos, and the links are all there on our Modo page. So this time here, though, we want to work out our circumference of our circle. Now, just say, for example, we've given the diameter, and we know our diameter is a line that goes through the center of the circle from one side of the circle to the other. And say we've got a diameter there, and that's 6 centimeters. So how do we work out our circumference? Well, we're using this idea of the circumference divided by the diameter is equal to pi, using the idea that if we take pi and then multiply it by the diameter, if we do that, that multiplication of that one will give us our circumference. So instead of dividing the circumference by the diameter to get pi, we multiply pi by the diameter. And in this case, we take the value of pi and we multiply it by 6 centimeters. And we throw that in the calculator. You can find pi in your calculator. If you're not sure, then check out your Casio calculator. And it's down the bottom in the middle, and you need the shift function for it. So we multiply pi by 6, and if we do that, it will give us the decimal, and if we round our decimal off to one decimal place, it will give us 18.8 centimeters. So there's the distance of our outside of our circle. So the circumference of our circle would be 18.8. Now, when we do a circumference, we should really look to estimate it first. Now, an easy estimation is to think about pi. And we saw that pi in the previous video is approximately 3.14. So we give an approximation 3.14 to 2 decimal places, and it goes on forever. But if we roughly take pi to be 3 when we're doing this, so if we're looking at the diameter of 6, the circumference of the circle is about 3 times 6. So about 18, and we look at our estimation of 18, it's close to our actual answer there of 18.8. So a good way to estimate it first, to make sure we get it right on in our calculations with our calculator, is to just do this, whatever the diameter is times pi. Now the other way we can calculate the circumference is when we've got a case when we've got our radius. So if we've got our radius there, we're going to use our ideas about the diameter to get our radius. So if we've got a radius, say in here, we've got a radius of 4 centimeters. So in this case, what I really need to look at if I want to work out the circumference, the idea is I'm going to take the radius and multiply it by 2. So in this case it would be 2 times 4. Because I know that my diameter of my circle, the diameter is twice times the radius. So if I've got the radius, all I need to do is multiply it by 2, and that gives me my diameter, and then to get my circumference, I must multiply the whole thing by pi. So if we put that into the calculator, again, we're putting in using our value for pi there, that would give us a value of 25.1, and we're only writing it to one decimal place, so it's an approximation. So 25.1 centimeters there. So that's going to be the value just to one decimal place. Really, it depends on what we're given in the questions. It may say to 2 decimal places or 3, but usually one's enough if you're not given anything else. But because really, once you start getting smaller and smaller than that, then it really makes it really hard to try and calculate it and actually measure it. So 1 decimal place is usually enough. Depends on the question you're given. So just look for it there. But remember the idea that the circumference divided by the diameter is pi. So the circumference when we get the diameter is given to us when we multiply the diameter by pi, and our diameter, if we're given the radius, is twice that radius. So keep those relationships in mind every time, and if you do that, you shouldn't go too far wrong in being able to calculate the circumference of a circle.